Muhtar was born in New York City, New York in 1952 as a Turkish-American citizen. Son of a celebrated Turkish diplomat, Kent spent much of his early childhood in various foreign capitals throughout the world. Muhtar completed high school in Turkey, received a Bachelor of Science degree in economics from Hull University, and a Master of Science degree in administrative science from London University. Following his education, Kent spent a brief period serving in the military for Turkey before returning to his birthplace of New York to begin a long career with Coca-Cola.
Kent's diplomatic father enforced responsibility and accountability into him at a young age. Being born in New York, spending his childhood in various country capitals, and attending college in the United Kingdom allowed Muhtar to experience and learn about international cultures. Being well-traveled is a very valuable aspect to Kent's position as CEO at one of the world's largest beverage companies. Serving in the military taught Muhtar about leadership and importance of communicating ideas to each and every member of an organization.
In 1978, Kent found a job at Coca-Cola through a newspaper ad. He began his work there by touring the United States in supply trucks to sell Coca-Cola and thus learn the aspects of distribution, marketing, and logistics. In 1985, Kent was promoted to a general manager position at the Coca-Cola in Central Asia. Over the next decade, Muhtar was promoted to head of Coca-Cola plants in more and more countries throughout Europe. After 20 years of service, Kent left the company in 1999, but was then appointed CEO in May 2005. Muhtar had quite the journey to become the man he is today. We will be discussing Muhtar Kent in terms of his leadership, ethics, and the organizational culture of his company, Coca-Cola.
Here today with the CEO of Coca-Cola, Mr. Muhtar Kent. Muhtar, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to be here.
Understanding the fact that Coke is such a large company and does have quite a large corporate structure, how are you able to, on a daily basis, incorporate the needs of your customers and your employees and their interests into your top management decisions in order to improve Coke on a daily basis as a company?
Well, that's a great question. What it starts with is that I try to focus not on the upper levels, but on the customers because that's what actually drives Coca-Cola. It's not who works in the offices, it's who buys our products. So at least twice a week, I try to make it out to a store or somewhere that sells a Coca-Cola product. And what I do is I like to go up and I like to talk to somebody buying a Coca-Cola product. And I like to hear what the customers have to say and their opinions on my product, and hear what they have to say and hear how I can better improve it according to them. And I can take that back up to the people up in the executive offices, and we can work with that. Now, another thing I like, it understands how the view of the public is versus the purely executive opinions. And that helps us to expand our horizons and not just what we think about in the office, but what actually our customers that are buying our products are actually thinking.
Okay, excellent insight, Mr. Kent. My next question just has to do with some of your goal setting that you've gone through in your company. What does Coke aspire to do in its future, and how is this affected by its short-term goals or things like this?
Well, when I come into the office every day, what I try to do is I try not to come in and say, where's our stock price at today, and worry about that. If I did that, I'd have gray hair and I would worry about too many things. So what I try to do is that I try to every day come in and think about, what can I do today that can make Coca-Cola a better company in the future? And specifically what I mean by that is that each day my team and I evaluate how we are staying on track to maintain our 2020 vision.
Oh, tell us about that.
I will. Our 2020 vision is all about aligning our bottling suppliers to a common purpose and thereby making the bottling and distribution more effective and efficient throughout the world. And what that means is basically I want to make sure that our bottles are more environmentally friendly, there's an easier way to dispose of them, and that people around the world, even third world countries, are able to enjoy Coca-Cola as we do here in the United States.
Well, as we're on the topic of environmentally friendliness and sustainability, just had a question for you about that kind of thing. As a global company, Coke is clearly active in many ways to helping underprivileged nations and communities throughout the world. What specifically is something you take pride in that Coke does in order to assist underdeveloped nations or impoverished countries?
Well, actually, one of my favorite set of projects that I particularly like is something we're implementing throughout Africa known as Project Last Mile. Now, what Project Last Mile is about is, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a village where people are carrying water tens of kilometers away because they don't have any in their town or in their village. Now, imagine that it's actually contaminated water that they're carrying back. And that village has no power, no electricity. So they can't brew, they can't do anything. They have no lights, no power. So here you come and put one of these units, one of these Project Last Mile units, in the village. It's solar powered, powered by biomass, and it produces 1,000 fresh liters of drinking quality water, distilled water, vapor compressed. And per day, that's 300,000 liters per year. We're one of the top 3 employers in all of Africa, but every community that we probably serve has issues like this that we're trying to fix up. Well, this project began by a very simple question in Coca-Cola. Why can't we get these medicines out there? And Coca-Cola, why is it everywhere but it can't be there? So what our answer to that is one of the widest and most effective logistics and distribution systems in the world is Coca-Cola. So we work tirelessly every day to make that better and to make it more efficient to ensure that we can actually satisfy our over 20 million points of sale worldwide. And so all the retailers around the world that we call our own, with our fleet of delivery vehicles, we are trying to get our products out to these villages. So we do get to the last mile, and we do get to these different small villages, and we're actually making a big difference out there in Africa. So in general, providing water and medicine to locations throughout Africa and supporting of development and developing communities and the impoverished is really something that I take pride in at Coca-Cola.
All right, Mr. Kent, just one last question for you here. How does the CEO of a major corporation worldwide, as it is, like yourself, deal with the influence of power and of greed on a daily basis when you're trying to make an effort to maintain a system of values, obviously, with your company?
Well, that's a very interesting question. When you add more people and you add more wealth, consuming more and demanding more, sustainability becomes one of the most important issues of our time. Sustainability, we always have to consider the implications of it and in the ways we do business. We have a great concern and care for our environment here at Coca-Cola, and the future generations of individuals around the world have to deal with any decisions we make today. So I think that the key to maintaining the practice is that our executive team here at Coca-Cola has a constant awareness of the environmental problems that we create as a business and that we can deal with on our own. So I think that corporations must protect natural and human resources in 4 key areas: water, sustainable packaging, community, and climate protection. The Coca-Cola Company, for example, is teaming with the World Wildlife Fund on Arctic Home. And what this is, it's a conservation program to create a safe haven for polar bears. And I think that's a very neat idea, and I think it's very helpful and beneficial to our future generations to have a clean environment for polar bears.
Excellent. Well, Muhtar, I would like to thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
The previous interview showed the values and ethics of Muhtar Kent and his company. To begin, he shows he's caring by his concern for the underprivileged and job creation in Africa through a lot of their volunteering and service. Next, we discuss citizenship and the various social programs that Kent is involved in, one of them being Project Last Mile. Thirdly, Kent shows humility because even though he is a very powerful person in the company, he still communicates with all of his employees and customers. And lastly, he's concerned for the environment and committed to sustainable practices. Hi, I'm Lauren Geary here with Channel 7 News, Channel 4's rival. And I'm also here today with Connor Cummins, the marketing director at the Coca-Cola plant in Fort Worth, Texas. So Connor, how are you doing today?
Doing good. How are you, Lauren?
Good. So describe the corporate culture at your Coca-Cola plant.
Here at the Coca-Cola marketing sector, we try to have a very adaptive culture. The market, especially in today's global market, is constantly changing. In order to meet these people's wants and different expectations, it's important that we adapt and change our product, our price, place, promotion accordingly.
How do you achieve that adaptive culture?
Well, there's 2 big aspects in achieving the adaptive culture. Those are innovation and communication. The first one is constant innovation. Our CEO, Muhtar, has a phrase that he lives by, and that phrase is constructively discontent. Never happy, you know. We always want to keep moving, you know, in the forward, never happy with where we are, keep making things better and better. So we always encourage our employees to innovate, and we actually encourage our employees to, you know, take risk and try to find ways and solutions that are bigger and better for our constantly improving company. And the second, well, and in order to get that innovation into action, we need communication. And this is communication between our employees and the consumers, and also communication between our employees and management. So we strive to create a really open work environment at Coca-Cola. I mean, we do regularly, we do something called employer insight surveys, where we just have our employees write to us any improvements, any changes, any new ideas they have, so we can incorporate that into our marketing plan as far as that goes.
Speaking of Muhtar Kent, you mentioned your CEO. I heard he visited your sector recently.
He
did. How
did.
was that? What was
Yeah.
that like for you guys?
That was very exciting, having Muhtar Kent, a man of his stature, coming around our company. And I actually was lucky enough to have some one-on-one time with him.
Oh, wow, that is great. So what did you guys talk about during that one-on-one time?
Well, Muhtar, as of late, he's been the CEO of Coca-Cola for the last only 3 or 4 years, and his main idea is growth. Coca-Cola is such a huge global company that he's all about growing it and just expanding it more and more and never being satisfied. It's that, discontent motto he lives by, constructively discontent. Sorry, I had to bring down my notes. But, so he's huge on that and growth, but then he tried to stress growth to try to relate to me, and I took that in terms of, you know, growing our employees and making them more, you know, better educated. We have this thing called Coca-Cola University, where we can send our employees to develop better skills with sales or marketing or whatever they're specialized in. So, and then, you know, when we get better employees, that results in us having better products, better innovative ideas, more value to the customers, and growing our business.
Are there any other cultural aspects you guys have to contribute to your company's success?
There's one more big one, and that's loyalty. I actually had a really good quote that Mr. Kent, you know, said to me, and actually had to write it down. It was so good. And it was, one system, one family, one great community of people who believe that they are the part of something larger than themselves. And I really like that quote because it just really shows the importance of loyalty and the customer loyalty to us. So we feel that since the customers are loyal to our product, that it is necessary for our employees to be loyal to our company and to have a full organizational commitment into it.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to me today. And thanks for watching, guys.
In the previous interview, we discussed the specific organizational culture of Coca-Cola through Muhtar Kent's specific ideas of the growth of his employees with Coca-Cola University, with the open communication of the employee insight surveys, with loyalty, the promote of effective organizational commitment so his employees actually want to stay at the company and work there, and then continued innovation through promoting risk-taking of their employees, which is connected back to open communication, where they're rewarding risk-taking.
From all the information we've gathered, I think it's pretty clear that Muhtar Kent is a very effective leader. As a high self-monitor, he carefully considers each and every innovation that comes into his company and puts it through what we consider to be a global filter. In this way, we can ensure that he satisfies Coke's global diverse audience. He also ensures that everything that reflects his company inspires moments of optimism and happiness, which is Coke's key value proposition. Muhtar is also able to balance a production and a relationship orientation in his company. When he visits other companies and organizations that sell Coke, he's able to both establish relationships and ensure that key task functions are being completed. And in doing this, he's able to gather information from both consumers and employees that allows him to make decisions. This shows that he's a democratic leader, most certainly. The leadership of Muhtar Kent has thus helped to make Coke one of the most successful companies in the bottling industry today.